We've had some prolonged, very wet and intermittent spells of poor weather that have really played havoc with harvest over the last 2 months. That's delayed harvest, so inevitably harvest will go into November and perhaps December. And of course the weather will not be any better than it's been before. So great planning and caution is required to be able to successfully harvest in these wet, cold months, so that we don't end up having significant disease problems. For example, this prime example of a soft rat bacteria is something we're trying to avoid. During harvest, intermittent harvest, stores are part filled often, so take great care that the stocks that you've got in store are being well ventilated, and that you're not compromising those stocks when you introduce new stocks as well. If you've yet to harvest, minimising damage is absolutely key. We've got to reduce the amount of infection entry points for bacteria. When you have harvested, carefully assess your sample, your stocks. Are they adequate? Is the quality adequate for storage? So this means sampling and being rigorous about it, not attempting to store material that's half and half. If you've got some slightly risky material, store that so that it can be unloaded without disturbing the rest of the store. Cold, wet potatoes need drying, positive ventilation if possible. Cold temperatures will reduce the effectiveness of your drying, and soil on the tubers will also affect drying. They'll reduce the ventilation rate. So you need to have good ventilation and for it to take place for a longer period than you might imagine. If possible, reduce store temperature. This will reduce the level of risk from rots. Cure if you must, but if you've got any level of rots or damage in your stock, then cool as quickly as you can, maintaining ventilation. You've got to maintain your store and the store loading to avoid condensation at all costs. Condensation will be a key to making your stocks much, much worse. And this is particularly the case with ambient storage. You have to have much more care and control.